Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Friday. This is amazing. An amazing day. We got a really good show for today. This actually is not our normal day, so it's really good that we have this going on. We have with us today Miss Beth Griffith-Manley. I'm sure there's a lot of you who know of her already. She was a contestant of The Voice, on NBC's The Voice. So, I mean, that's huge in itself. But so many other things that you've had going on. Obviously, you're here in the city because you're going to be doing the Tom Joyner show tonight. As everybody knows, he's retiring and he's doing the Sky Show again, like he had been doing for years. So, welcome. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
And we have our co-host here.
Hello, everyone.
And
What's up, y'all?
What is it? Happy Friday.
Yeah.
Hey.
What are we talking
Yeah, I'm like the Dean Martin of the show.
about? Okay.
I like to drink and make it work.
I'm not mad.
yeah, she's the person that she makes
I'm
the
not
appropriate comments. But yeah, so I think this is really amazing. I appreciate you for taking the time coming on to the show. Talk about being here in the city, number one. Like I think it's really huge for you to be here for what you're here for.
Well, I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to be anywhere that I get a chance to sing.
Right.
But it's a special type of tour that we're on. I sing background for Kim, but we're celebrating Tom Joyner's just his long history in radio, and so he has a wonderful tour going on with Kim, Frankie Beverly Mays.
Yeah.
And we've worked with them before, done many shows with them. So it's just a big, happy family atmosphere. Everybody knows everybody, so it's really cool. And Tom Joyner is just great. He's a ball of energy, a lot of fun. He's just a really nice guy. And the personality that you hear on radio, when you're interacting with him in person, you get that. So
Right.
It's really good.
It's kind of cool because I used to, some years ago, I used to work for Radio 1.
Okay.
So I've had the opportunity to meet him a few times when he did the Sky Show here in the city and whatnot. And you're right, he has been like that. So it definitely was a really good
Yeah,
experience.
it's a really nice guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I was like, this is like working with Frankie Beverly Mays, man. I know it's like, what is that like?
Well, first of all, Frankie Beverly is such an iconic artist. So when you hear his name, I think your mind automatically starts going down the list of all the barbecue, summertime hits, your mama
I hear
played.
that first note before I let it go.
Yes,
Right.
you hear all that in your head, and so he's such an iconic and staple figure, I think, in the African American community, because I don't know anybody who, 70s, 80s, 90s, Frankie, but like, you know that name.
right.
So when you hear his music, when you see him take the stage, and the fact that he has not put out any current music, and everybody's still jamming on his hits that he's had, and then the crowd comes in and they're white, because they know when you go see Frankie Beverly, you put on your white. So, it's just like that he commands your attention and your respect, and I think the fact that you get to go on stage or go on the same stage that he's on, that in itself is just great. And he's such a nice guy. I've had the opportunity to meet him, take a picture with him. He's really a nice guy, really nice. I've been really blessed to be able to cross paths with some great artists. It's really nice to be.
But yeah, since, because I'm a huge fan of especially older music, your dad was one of the Funk Brothers.
Yes.
So I'm sure that, weren't there other people that you would have met, like in your childhood and stuff like that were influential? Because I thought I read something that Aretha Franklin picked you to sing one of her songs.
Well, yes. Now, there's a story with my dad with Miss Franklin. There's a story with me with Miss Franklin. All good though.
Okay. Love
So-
you. I met Miss Franklin a couple times. Though.
Well,
I just afforded the luxury of the same experience.
But here's the thing, as you grow in your artistry, because I'm growing in my artistry, I started out as a background singer, and then now I'm a solo artist, but I still do background. I kind of get the stresses that artists have. That doesn't mean that you should take it out on other people.
Oh no, don't
You know
get me
what I'm
wrong.
saying?
She's
So-
Aretha Franklin. If she God rest her soul, if she wanted to be mean, she could be mean.
But I mean,
she's no respect. Like,
Right,
so,
and not just her, but I'm
Right.
just saying, you just know that there's a lot of stress, there's a lot of factors that go into when you're an artist, but I still, I still think that, it's just a lot of pressure.
Right.
But with Miss Franklin, so the story starts that my dad worked with her. He was her first keyboard player. That's something I did not know the specifics and the nature of their working relationship. My father had passed, but then when I got a chance to actually talk to Miss Franklin, she told me that my dad worked with her and that he was her first keyboard player. So that was just amazing for me to get that information from her mouth.
Right.
And not just my dad saying, I used to, I played with Aretha, because he would always say, I played with Aretha, I played with Aretha. I know Aretha. And that was me, really little. And so I've always heard her name in my house. So then for her to tell me that my dad worked with her. So then later, fast forwarding to, I believe, 2016, Detroit had something called the Detroit Music Weekend, which we honored her the entire weekend. And there was a concert that was put on with some amazing singers in our city, great stellar band. And she picked the female singers that she wanted to honor her for that performance. And that was really a cool thing.
I'm sure.
It was really cool. And then a year later, she passed away. And several of the same singers were selected to honor her at the now called Aretha Franklin Amphitheater that we had in Detroit, so we changed the name. So that was great. So just to be able to honor her 2 times and to know the first time she approved and the second time she would have approved because I was the first time. So that was really
Right.
And the fact that I got a chance to talk to her and talk about my father, even with him being deceased, and for her to say, that she had a good time working with him and that they had good times, and and that he was a good musician, great musician. That
Played on a lot of hits.
He did. He has left me an amazing legacy. I'm very proud of
For
that.
sure. I mean, and that's, I'm sure that had a lot to do with your musical background, like growing up in a house that's obviously where it's a very important thing. You
Yeah,
gotta get a different perspective on it.
I was gonna ask, like, did you ever, or when was your, like, aha moment, like, I'm gonna be a singer, this is what I'm gonna do with my life?
So much later than you would even know. It wasn't, when you're growing up and I'm hearing music in the house, and my parents did not want me to do music. My parents wanted me to just go to school, get my education, be a professional, whatever that is.
Right.
And I went to college, I got my degree in business, and I did not want to go to school. I hated school. I loved the portion of school that made me be disciplined to start a project and complete a project, and I think that's important for me now, because when I start projects, I tend to finish them because I'm used to writing a paper and finishing a paper and complete a project, and those are simple things that college teaches people, that why am I going to college, why am I taking this class? Well, it doesn't necessarily teach you when you're in a class, it gives you a specific discipline as well.
Mhm.
So college gave me a discipline, but even in my household, it was not, music wasn't pushed on me. It was like, don't do this, you need to get a degree.
Right.
Because of, and people that don't know the history of the Funk Brothers, they were kind of the unsung musicians from Motown. They did not get the just due, the pay, the
They didn't even
recognition.
start like giving them credit on the albums until like the 80s.
It was so,
And back during that time, there were so many groups like that. Like the Motown had the Funk Brothers, and then I want to say it was like Tower of Power or something for Stax Records, and then even like the white labels, they had the Ventures. They wrote the theme from Hawaii 5-0 and Wipeout. And what you don't realize is, while these musicians, you've been hearing them on hits for years, you don't realize that not only are they playing those songs, most of them wrote those songs.
and got no
Credit for it at all. And the record industry kind of sucks for that, but now, there's a...
I heard it was trifling back then.
It was really bad, and then that was what made my father really not want me to get into this business, because of the way that it was set up.
Jewish people write doo-wop songs.
Right.
Right. Come on now,
Right.
doo-wop is by Epstein Eidelberg.
Right.
Igor Jenkins wrote that shit in the corner.
Right.
You gave him $22 and you go.
And
now it's your song.
that's pretty much what happened.
Okay.
So they didn't want me to do it because of that. So I was not encouraged to do music, but when something is naturally in you, something you naturally
You end up doing it.
So I couldn't help it but to get into music, but they really pushed me to get my education. And I was obedient and I got my education. So when I did decide to start singing, they were like, oh God, really? Because I have a brother and a sister and they don't do it. But what I did do was try to make sure that I handled the business end by putting my own music out and starting my own label and trying to have some control over what I do.
I've always
So-
been an advocate of like being independent and
Yeah. You work harder. It's a lot more work.
but it's
But you're
But it's worth it.
It's worth it, and you get
it's
more
all
out.
yours.
Yeah, I'm happy.
Like
Is that why you choose business in college? Like just because of
No, it didn't make me choose. I've always been somewhat of a person. Well, you know, I had jobs going through school. So I worked at Ford Motor Company, and I worked in the business department handling paperwork, and worked in the international service department. And I've always loved travel. I've always loved strategic thinking and things like that. So I was just kind of like a business type of person. If I had to pick something that I would have probably done, I was going to probably go into law and corporate law. So that was my thing. So for me to get a business degree, that was the start of me saying, let me get a business and possibly get my MBA and possibly go to law school. So that was where I started, and then it just didn't end up like that. So
Yeah, I hear you. I dropped out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally
well, yeah.
Well, no, I dropped out of law school. Like,
Oh.
yeah.
Well,
So, yeah.
we love them.
It's funny because I was gonna go to law school for entertainment law and took the LSAT and got 169 out of the 180, and then was just like, I don't want to go no more.
I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot of reading. It's a lot of studying. You know, when you think about that. And my mother wanted me to be a doctor, and I don't like blood, so I'm like, that's not gonna happen.
I'm not saying it, right?
Yeah, I was just like, yeah.
Well, if I have
So
to.
who's gonna get that? You know, who's gonna clean that up? So it just was one of those things. Well, you know, so yeah.
Alright. Well, question, I got one. What's your top 5 songs you love to sing?
My top 5 songs that I love to sing.
Is 5 too big? I don't know.
No, you know, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't really have a top 5. I probably have a top 1 or 2. But right now, whatever is top is what I have to learn.
All right.
Or which I
Right.
love. To be honest with you, because you know, when you're learning to sing, then you have your favorite songs. There are just there's a bunch of songs that I love. But now I have to learn songs sometimes for specific things. And one thing I think that artists don't really think about is when you write songs, you have to actually learn your own material. So I tend to study my own material so that I can perform it. That's what I try to focus on. And then if there's an artist I'm working with, learning what they, you know. But really what's been on repeat in my phone, my iTunes, is Better Days by Leandria.
Okay.
What's her last name?
Johnson.
Leandria Johnson. Yeah, I play that constantly. I love that song.
Okay.
That's just that's a place where I'm at right now, and the song just really encourages me. So I love the texture and tone of her voice.
Alright.
Yeah.
Have you ever had any formal vocal training? Because one of my favorite songs is I Put a Spell on You. And you did that on The Voice, and that song had like
Killed it on The Voice.
in order to sing something like that, the amount of like control and that you have to have, like does that just come natural to you, or did you take like vocal lessons to learn?
Yes and yes.
Okay.
So I did not start taking voice lessons until probably a couple years ago.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, because I think, you know, there are some people who can just naturally sing, but singing is so much more than that. There's breathing, there's phrasing, there is protecting your voice, there are vocal exercises, there's drinking water, there's staying hydrated, getting sleep. There's all those other components that come with protecting your voice. So I went to a vocal teacher because I was actually starting to have problems with my voice, and realized after going to a doctor that I had been diagnosed with asthma because my breathing and my allergies, sinus was just affecting the tone of my voice and everything. So I went to the vocal teacher, which helped a little bit, but in rehearsal, because I was not able to get adequate breath. And so with that, I went to the doctor and they told me that I had the asthma. So the vocal training has helped, you know. I think if you look up your biggest artists, they all have vocal teachers.
Right.
And as you age, it's a muscle, you know, it changes. So in order to keep that muscle still flexible to be able to do what it needs to do, you do need to have training. So yes and yes.
Yeah, and that is very true. I had an opportunity to do a study with a doctor from Cleveland Clinic and Walter Williams from the OJs.
Okay.
And they showed how, because he took care of his voice, that it has not changed over time. Like, it literally sounds exactly the same as it did before. And to be 5 feet away from him and hear him singing with no microphone. So yeah, absolutely.
And your voice can get better.
Right.
You know, your voice doesn't necessarily have to get worse as you age. Your voice can get better, and then you get more familiar with your voice and what your voice can do. Your teacher will show you things that you didn't even know about your own voice, because your voice and music and is subjective. It's what the other person hears, as opposed to what I hear. So I may sing something to you, and I may think it's bad, and you may say, "Oh my God, I love that." So a vocal teacher is the same thing. I may sing something and they say, "No, you can do this," and you don't even know you can do it, and they teach you how to maneuver your own voice. So I love them.
And I have a big thing with tone. Your voice is awesome. The tone is great. The pitch is good.
You know, put a stone on you though, man. Like, that's one of my favorite songs. The guy who made it is J.B. Hawkins.
Yes, Screaming Jay Hawkins.
Man,
I went back and watched that video just to get the history of that song.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not an easy song to pull off. So yeah, like when I say like you killed it, man, you killed it, man.
Thank you.
That song sounds like 7, you know what I mean?
Thank you. And I wanted to do something different with that song because, you know, that song has been done on a lot of singing shows. But I really studied the song. I went back to see Screaming Jay Hawkins, and then I really wanted to listen to how that song started out. That song started out with you going crazy, like, but with a mission of getting your point across. You know, so I enjoyed doing that, and we wanted to do something different with the ending of the song that I had never heard anybody else do. Right. And I think that went across.
It did.
Dope, man.
Because I don't think anybody expected me to end it like that.
Not at all.
So that was fun. I wanted to do something different and out the box. And you never know when you're going to get off these shows. So I'm like, if this is going to be my last night, then let me do something different every performance to try to be memorable.
I think like with your choice of songs, like I just look at your voice overall and how much soul you have in your voice. And like I love just the songs that you pick. Like we talk about that song, but then we also look at songs like Aretha's Until You Come Back to Me, which has always been like one of my favorite songs. Like did you actually kind of handpick the songs that you would perform, or
next question.
And see, button smash. That's the first time we got the button smash.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
No, it's cool, man.
I mean, but it's I love that song. Though.
I love it too. I was fortunate to be able to perform songs that I like. Did I answer your question?
Yes. Whoever did it, it was great.
Thank you. The songs, I loved everything that I sang. I loved. You know, you do. You know, if there's a song that you feel that doesn't work for you, you can change your song.
Right.
You can do that. I loved everything that I sang. You know.
Did it? What was it crushing in any way? Like when you, like obviously when you had to leave the show, or?
Yes, I did not. Well, let me say this. I wasn't crushed because I think there's a level of you know you're sad, you could be pissed, you could be disappointed, you could be crushed, you could be devastated.
Yeah.
I think I was disappointed. I was disappointed
Because I think a lot of people didn't really expect it.
No, you should have went further, for sure. Like, I mean, yeah, some of the rest of those people are terrible. Like, I can't even believe that you guys eliminated that fast. But American Idol was the first one of those shows, and if you look at the history of those shows, the only person who won, 2 people who won American Idol and had great careers were Kelly Clarkson, you know, for Fat White Chicks, and then Carrie Underwood for obviously parts of America that black people don't live in. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, of course they're going to do well. And I think Kanye did okay with the games. I think he did okay too. But no, man, like it does. It turns into like a big, stupid
country
popularity contest country show. Like,
but what another thing I learned too is people actually vote for the coaches that they like. They don't necessarily vote for. So you get on the most popular coaches team, then it could be you kind of have it better. So even a friend of mine, Kyla Jade, she was on the season 2 seasons prior. She was season 4 or something. But she was on
What
Blake's
season you were on?
Well, you're
True story. True story. I watched a YouTube video of her first performance and thought it was good and started watching it.
Oh, wow.
I did not watch it. No, hell no. That show's terrible. It's bootleg American Idol. Like, I mean,
It's only Cleveland, man.
But Kyla was actually on Blake's team, and so she went really far. And most of the time, if you look at the history of the show, black women really don't stay on there.
Yeah.
And when you go on the show, the purpose of going on the show is to go as far as you can, take it with grace,
Right.
and then you.
It seems to have worked out okay for you, though. You know,
Well, I mean,
you're
it's
still
still
out
out
doing
there.
stuff.
Right.
Right, you're still out doing stuff. Who knows what the hell happened to the rest of the people?
Like what things do you feel like, and I think the beauty of any experience like that, like you said, is to be able to take that and then parlay it into something else.
Absolutely.
So obviously we see where things have gone, and we see you doing, you know, these amazing things with Tom Joyner and Maze and Frankie Beverly, but what things do you feel like you were able to kind of make out of that situation that you really wanted to do, or what things do you feel like you wanted to do that you still haven't been able to do yet?
Well, let me start by saying, to go on a show like that, I think, looking back in hindsight, you need to have already established some type of career path before you go. When you get off the show, it's not necessarily what you think when you get off the show. Like, your phone will start ringing, but if you have nothing in place, eventually your phone may stop ringing.
Right.
So I've been with Kim 6 years. So it was a matter of me stopping working with him, do the show, I go back to work, which is a great thing. Before I got on the show, I had already released an album. So I go back to promoting my album, which is a great thing.
Right.
I already have management. We go back to, so I'm going back to work, but I'm going back to work with additions to my resume.
Right.
I'm going back to work being able to have had national and international exposure because YouTube makes you international.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're able to more so the people that you called prior to that didn't take your call, maybe now they'll pick up the phone.
Right.
Because you have been affirmed by television now, by national television. The fact that you even got on the show is a lot.
Right.
Because people will audition and not even make it to the show. So the fact that you make it on to primetime national television, that's a lot. So I go back to work now, and I go back with more push, behind me, and it has been a little bit easier, I will say that.
So it's comparable to like graduate school for singers.
Pretty much, because it's
What?
you have
Like,
you
look
have
you up, like you get paid for?
you know,
You'd
it's
be like, nah, man,
But you got more credentials, so yeah.
You do. It's an additional credential, and it makes sense to try to do a show like that would allow you to have exposure on that level. I mean, you can't just go get on television like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's a place everybody wants to be. Everybody wants to make it to television. Everybody wants to be on TV at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. That's prime time. You can't just do that. So the fact that happened for, and even when I was eliminated and I left the show, I'm like, I got to sing in front of 10 million people a couple times. Like, who did, like, I'm good.
Right.
Is
And
it
even
different
if you
or
get
is
like
it
a
just
million
another
fans after that.
Right.
My fan base has grown. You know what? I will say this. Yes, it was different, but no, it wasn't different. In the fact that you're aware that there's cameras in your face and there's a live audience in there. But I love performing live, and I'm used to doing that.
Right.
So that it was a mindset of when you're walking in there, and then you see the coaches, you see these cameras, and there's all this production around you. That's one factor. But then you have to say, wait, okay, this is just like you're doing the show.
Yeah.
So perform to the crowd, because there were live audiences every time, and that was great. That gives you great energy to feed off. So it was good. It was good.
You also talk about the fact that obviously you're a soloist,
Yes.
so you put your own albums out,
Yeah.
but then you're also still singing background as well, and you don't see that a lot with artists. Like usually they sing background and then they become a soloist, and then that's it for the background. So how is it, not necessarily to balance the two of them, but is there any difficulty in doing that?
No, there's not difficulty, mainly because I have a great artist that I work with
Yeah.
that is flexible.
Yeah.
There are some artists that will not allow you to go pursue and to leave. So, and to come back.
Yeah.
They'll just replace you, and I get that. So with Kim, he's very flexible. There was a conversation, I explained to him what I was going to do. He was very supportive, and he was like, we had a sub fill in for me. Which there weren't even really, we were kind of down, so I really didn't miss, you know, a lot because it was just the time that show was airing. We were kind of, it was downtime for Kim because he's recording right now, so it kind of just worked out.
Is it hard doing background for him? He's a little nasal. I like him.
You know what? I had never. So this is hilarious. I had never heard. I'm not much of an R&B fan. Like I said, I'm big on tones and how people sound, and I like your stuff because I like how your voice sounds. But I'm kind of a headbanger most of the time. But I went to, true story, I went to a marriage proposal that was done by a gospel mime.
Okay.
And he did it to one Kim song about I'll never hurt you again or something like that. And that was the first time I heard it. And I remember watching it, I'm like, well, the song is cool, but I don't know what the fuck is going on with the rest of this. You know, like it was legit, like a troupe of spirit minds or whatever. I don't know. The dude was being like 3 or 4 different things in mine and shit. You know, what's up, my guy? You know who you are. But anyway, he's done it a few times, and like when he did it that time, I was like, oh wow, because I mean we showed up just because he said he was going to gospel mime the proposal, so it was like kind of cool that I got to like make fun of him and hear a full song. So both things were really neat, but that's why as soon as I hear his name, I'm like, that's the guy from the mime. And it is a little name, but it's cool though. I mean, I don't know. I listen to rock music, and white people got someone else not my name. So I don't really. I mean, I like Guns N' Roses. I mean, who's more nasal than Axl Rose?
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So it doesn't bother me, you know. Like, I mean,
I'm not mad at that.
It's not hard to do his background though.
Okay.
It's really not. In fact, you know, his songs are very they're very relaxing.
Yeah.
They're not hard. They're not hard to sing, and singing background for a male artist is, you know, it's in a more comfortable register vocally for a female, as opposed to when I did background for Anita, I sang like soprano for her. So with Kim, I'm singing in my lower register, which is a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah.
So it's cool. It's not bad, and it's not the transition from balancing the two. It's not bad. It's just a matter of coordinating my dates and working, and we have people to come in and fill in if we're not available. All of the background singers have solo work that we do, so we kind of were in and out.
I can see it working out. Like, he's super, super cool. Like, I interviewed him actually when he first came out.
Okay.
So I would imagine that just because of the way that he came into music and how hard he worked to really get to that point and get people to recognize that, that's why it's so easy to work with him.
And he understands and he sees it's not, I think as long as you respect that is a job that I have, and by no means would I have ever thought I would come back and say, well, you know, I didn't kill you now, so I can't be doing your background. It's not like that.
There's a lot of people who do.
But you know what? But it's not like that. It's very superficial, and I think that would be the vision we would want, to be able to hit a TV show and then you come back and then the world is your oyster. Well, the world is my oyster, but I have to crack that oyster first. So there's still work to be done, and I understand that. And it's a hard job to be able to get a job being a background singer with an artist. That's something you don't give up really quick. You know, you don't give that up until I know that my schedule is so banging right now that I cannot do that.
I won't be back.
Yeah, right.
Yes, at business school.
Right, but I'm not there.
I'm not gonna not be without a job.
And I'm
TV shit.
And I'm still trying to do both until, you know, my husband is like, ma'am, you know. So, you know, you have to work, it has to make sense.
Well, I got a question. Do you have a fantasy collaboration? Any artists you really want to work with?
Ooh, good question. That is a good question. Shocking. I don't know. You know what? I don't know. Probably the one person that I would love to, probably the 2 people I would have loved to sing with. They're maybe 3. They're not here.
Okay.
Luther, Whitney, Aretha. They're not here. You know, I would love to have been able to just be in the room with them while they're recording.
Right.
You know, just let me sit in here and watch. They're not, you know, not here.
Oh, really?
I would love to have been in there, just to watch how, I would have loved to just watch how Whitney recorded and how Aretha recorded and how Luther recorded, and just to be in the room, to just absorb, just to be in the same studio air with them.
Yeah, you know, and you seem to be like on the same like level of teaching with those guys, because you know, like the way music is now is so microwave. It's not a lot of substance with it. You know what I'm saying? You seem more like you're trying to follow that.
Well, that's, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know,
Right.
that old school way, that when you listen to the music, it was such a different way of even how artists carried themselves back then. And I guess with my father coming from Motown, you know, I was just taught to be a lady, and you know, and there's just a certain way you carry yourself. There's a certain way that you conduct your business. There's a certain way that you present yourself, and I think your music should reflect that. And your music should not be something that when somebody turns it on, they're like, whoa.
What the hell is
Because
that?
that's what we're kind of doing right now, and
Yeah.
as opposed to putting on and saying, "Oh, this is nice. What
Right.
is this?" That's what I want. That's what I want. So,
Yeah. That's what you're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, that's how you got me, and I'm not even really a fan of you know, like, I don't know how the hell you listen to Anita Baker singing all that time.
Well,
my mom
but
agrees with me on that too. My mom was like the only black woman who was like of age in the 80s where you turn on to Anita Baker and she's like, can you please turn that shit off?
well, because nobody
She
understood what
she
Anita
never
was
liked it.
saying.
Yeah.
And but there was but you know what? There was a feel that she had, and I had to learn that too. Sometimes there's a feel that you get from music. It may not necessarily be the words. You figure out the words later, but the song, the music, the instrumentation, and how everything is put together. Those are things that you feel, and if you can just close your eyes and you feel something, you know. And her voice was almost used like an instrument. It really wasn't almost. It was. She had a very, or she has a very unique voice.
Yeah.
And honestly, I did not listen to Anita Baker a lot growing up because I couldn't understand what she said. But I liked the feel, and I liked her flow, and I loved to just watch how she allowed the music to move her body. Those are things that I learned from her prior to even working with her, and then being able to stand behind her for a couple of years and watch her. I just absorbed it. And it's so funny that sometimes people would say, "Oh, I'm getting this Anita vibe from you," especially since I cut my hair, and I didn't cut it for her. But you know, the different things you absorb and you learn things from people who you've been around, and I did learn that from her.
We can understand what you're saying. Too.
Yeah, but I feel like you don't have to understand. Who was the lady? I forget her name. She should be been around the world and now. I have no relation to that song at all, but I love it, man. When I hear it, I
Because
just
it does something. It's,
Yeah.
You know, you just kind of feel this thing, and music is supposed to move you. I mean, even with the music that's currently out now, we don't know what they're saying, but the music come on and feel that beat.
I'm not there. Like, I'm not there. I'm not feeling the beat because they all sound the same.
People have black education classes on Tuesdays and
And
Thursdays.
you know I'm not coming.
You gotta go.
I'm not
Mandatory, man.
It's not black education. All of it sucks. The rock music sucks. The rap sucks. Everything sucks. I just told someone this morning that I feel so bad for this generation because what they will call an icon and what we call an icon are two different things. To us, an icon is Michael Jackson, Prince. You know, it's kind of hard to relate to listening to music on the radio now when like you had Thriller. You know what I'm saying? Like,
No, that's true.
no thanks.
And waiting for that video to come out. Do you remember those days? Like we waited
Oh my
to
God.
see the video. You waited
Exclusive world premiere.
Michael Jackson's like the only musician in history to have his videos debut in primetime television. They used to come on. I think it was like 3 of them. It was Black or White, Remember the Time, and then, well, not Thriller. Thriller was an MTV exclusive.
Oh yeah, it was.
What was the other one?
But the other one was actually, God, I can't even believe I'm embarrassed him to bring this song up. But he did a song with Eddie Murphy called "Down with the King," and it is not only one of the gayest videos ever, but it's just the song is worse than Party all the time. Like it's terrible. But each video debuted on, look it up. It's called "Down with the King," and I swear to you, when you see it, they're standing there. It's like a green screen, I guess, and it's like clouds and shit behind them, and they're standing like in some clouds, and they're singing it at the end of the video. Eddie Murphy puts his arm around Michael Jackson and covers his mouth up. I swear to God.
Well, can I tell you that I appreciate your knowledge. Yeah.
But all 3 of those videos debuted after In Living Color on Sunday night.
Wow. Fox TV. Yes.
He's like the only
That's
person.
where we got it.
He's the only person who can.
I was like, what is she, like a music dictionary?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's why.
Yeah,
That's
pretty
why
much.
we got it.
And I listen to everything. Like, I mean, you could be in the car with me and like 1 minute we're listening to, I don't know, Snoop Dogg or Bone or something, and then I might want to listen to Chopin. Maybe I want to listen to Tom Waits. I don't know. Maybe I want to hear Bobby sing.
I like this.
I think it's Chopin. Hold up.
I love this because you're very eclectic with your music. I love that. Yeah.
So we have the show tonight.
Yes.
The Tom Joyner show.
Yes.
Will you, I know obviously you're singing background, but
Yeah.
will you do any type of solo thing?
I do a tribute to Aretha Franklin.
Okay.
Nice.
And I sing, what do I sing? I was still thinking about you. Natural Woman. I do Natural Woman. And that was one of her biggest hits, written by.
Okay.
So that's one of her biggest hits. So I do that, and it's a wonderful thing to be able to pay tribute to her. She has just left such a mark on music history. You know, you can't even. The list goes on, and all of her music and her albums that she's put out. It's just incredible. And she's one of my favorite singers.
Yeah.
So just to be able to do that as well.
I think it's really amazing, you know, again, I just really want to point out just how happy and thrilled we were to have you here.
Oh, thank you.
I know we've obviously talked about The Voice, we talked about Tom Joyner. Tell us a little bit more about some of the things that you have, I would say, coming up that we can look out for and where people can check you out online and, you know, that sort of thing.
Well, my website is bethalwayssings.com. That's also my hashtag. So if you ever want to, you know, look me up, you can put that into Google or something, search engine. But it's bethalwayssings.com, and my Instagram and my Twitter is bethalwayssings also. We've got some shows coming up over the summer. So my shows will be intertwined with some of Kim's dates. We have dates throughout July and August so far with Tom Joyner. I don't know when his tour is going to be over.
Yeah.
And there's a couple festivals that I'll be doing. And they are right now in the metropolitan Detroit area.
I was gonna say we gotta get out to Detroit.
Yeah, so yeah, it'll be. In fact, we're on the phone talking about one. I'll be doing something called the Ribs and Soul Fest in August, and I think I'm open for Vivian Green or something. I'm going on before her, I believe. Yeah,
that would be awesome because there's some things I know that are coming up in the Detroit area, and we're supposed to connect with Anthony Hamilton.
Okay.
While he's there in Detroit,
Okay.
so that would be cool to get down there and then maybe see you perform.
Absolutely.
We can get some tickets, right?
Well, a lot of these festivals are you may not have to have tickets.
Yeah,
I don't
I
have
don't
all
know
the
for it.
information. Yeah, because there's one in Southfield I'm doing called, I think, Rhythm and Rhyme, and that's in July. And then there's another one for the city of Rochester, and then there's the Ribs and Soul. I don't know how the tickets are set up, but they're big outside open. You know, it's really a really nice setup where you could just kind of come up with your
Like
lawn
lawn
chair and
chairs
just chill out and do that. So I don't know if there's tickets.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, but Anthony Hamilton is great. We've worked with him as well.
Yeah.
I've done several shows with him. He's really good.
So before I ask you about final comments, is there anything that you two want to ask? You know, as we
The
get
questions have been good.
I just want to give a round of applause for the outfit, man. That was
Well, let me shout out the person who dresses and styles me. She's right there.
I thought she was somebody important with the way she was sitting there.
Well, you know what? It's funny. We always go back and forth. She says, "Wear this." I'm like, "I don't want. Should I wear this? Should I put this on? This is what you wear." And
So
I'm
is
like,
Lady
"Okay."
L stylist? Is she like?
No, she's that's what she does. She's my stylist. That's my sister girl. She's my right hand. She's always with me. But I normally, when it comes time to get dressed for something, I'll call her and she says, "Well, where are you going? What is it? What time is it?" And she will come over, literally go in my closet and pick out, or we order what I need to have for that event. So shout out to Lola George, and she keeps it together. So thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
I just want to say, like I tell any other musician I've ever talked to, thanks for the music.
Oh.
It's an important thing. Like music and math, no matter where you go, those two things are always going to be the same, and it doesn't matter what you like, you have done something and contributed something to the world that will be here long after you're gone. So thanks a lot, and heaven thanks to your dad for all of the
Thank you.
all of the awesome Motown hits.
Thank you. I try as an artist to, and I tell other artists to try to leave a body of work. Everybody wants to drop singles all the time.
Yeah.
And they're like, I'm gonna drop this single, and then 2 weeks later,
Wow.
yeah, and they're like 2 weeks later, they're like, I'm dropping another single. And I was just telling a friend of mine, I said, do a complete project. I said, because then when you are called to perform, then you end up doing a bunch of covers for your show because you have 1 or 2 singles. You drop an album and you can pick and choose and have a body of work.
I missed the full album.
And from a fan perspective, there's nothing like it.
Yeah,
Like a new one, you open it up, you put it in, and listen to the whole thing.
And nobody makes CDs anymore. They're
But
doing.
the problem is, and not to cut you off, the problem with that is that a lot of artists are not putting out quality music. So it's not selling. So they feel like, well, nobody's really buying it anymore, so we shouldn't do a full album, we should do a single. Well, if you put some good music together.
But not only that, I think as a true artist.
But
But as a true artist too, you are not to release music for people to buy or necessarily to make money.
Right.
You have to release it because you love it.
Right.
And I didn't release my album to get rich. I released my album because that's something I wanted to do. I wanted to release an album, and then I hope people buy it. But then you also have to have something tangible, because when you do your shows, that's when people buy my CDs.
Mm-hmm.
They may download them, and that's fine. By the way, my music is available on my website. And on iTunes and Google Play and all the digital platforms.
That's right, plug it, man.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you come see me perform live, I will have a merch table. I will have T-shirts. I will have CDs.
Mhm.
I am out by the merch table.
Right.
I am taking pictures of people. I'm signing autographs. We're talking, because I believe as an artist, and I watch Kim do this, you have to be tangible to the people. They want to feel like they can talk to you and tell you something that they like, something that they don't like. They want to connect with you, and those are the fans that you really keep for a lifetime, because they've been able to connect with you. So that's one thing that I'm adamant about, is connecting with people. When people comment on my social media, I respond back. If somebody sends me an email, I respond back, because I just believe if they took the time to take an interest in me, and who am I to be too busy or to be too important not to respond back to them? So, I'm a hands-on. Sometimes to a detriment, my husband says I'm too hands-on sometimes. But I love people, and I love connecting with people, and I know people have a certain energy, and sometimes some people need something. And you may just be that person. You just may be what they needed that moment and that time, and you can change their life forever. So, that's how.
But I think that's a lot of the key to your success, though, is that you're not just going with the flow. You're not just following the trend. And I think that's where a lot of artists are, is that they feel like they're doing what they want to do or what's true to their heart, but in a lot of ways they're following the trend and trying to do what the next person did, because they feel like that's the key to, getting those hits and whatnot. And I think that's where a lot of them kind of fail.
There are trends, but I also think, because I have some amazing mentors in my life, which I'm going to drop a name, I know you know who this is, Paul Reiser. Yeah. Paul Reiser, amazing person from Motown, happened to be a friend of my father's, and I actually met him at my dad's funeral. He's been an amazing mentor to me, and I can just pick up the phone, talk to him, ask him questions.
He's like just as important as Smokey Robinson.
Yeah, he was just a visual ranger.
Most people just don't know
Don't know. But he's, Paul Reiser that's my Uncle Paul. He's a phone call away. What should I do? How do I do this? What do I do? Another name, I know you know this, Michael Powell.
That's amazing.
Yeah, Michael Powell, I call him my uncle brother. Mike, what do I do? How do I do this? Does this make sense? How should I approach this? And he'll say yes or no. So
that's a hell of a musical support system.
But they're right there, and they're making sure that I give quality music and I do it the right way. And then, I don't know if you know, but I did a remake of I Just Want to Be a Girl from Chapter 8 on my album.
I did.
And so Mike was like, I want you to do this song. I want you to have quality music. I want you to bring some things back. So I just have a great support system to keep me grounded, so that I know to do the right type of project and not just follow the trend.
Right.
So, yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna try to be a successful R&B singer, why not take the people who basically created that genre
Come on.
and follow their advice? Like that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So, any type of final comments or anything?
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks for
Yeah,
coming.
really, thanks.
And just, you can follow me on social media, and I'm
Already do.
around.
So-
I think I followed you, and
Everybody else.
yeah, all y'all out there. And just, just watch me grow. Because I'm growing right now and I'm enjoying this process of growing. So, I think it's cool when you see somebody take on a path or they're doing something and you can watch how it evolves.
Right.
And it's evolving and I'm having a great time.
Right, and like when our show was huge, you'd be like, you were, one of our early guests, you know what I'm saying? We can interview you after you win your Grammy, it would be great.
I'm going for the EGOT because I was with John Legend.
So sorry.
Yeah, I'm like, I've seen it. Like
Another Ohioan.
But yes, he is, and he's just the nicest guy. And the one thing that I was just telling people is the one thing that I learned from The Voice is being out in Hollywood and seeing the lights, the camera, the action, the level of production. I know what's there. I've seen it. It's not like I'm wishing and I don't know what I'm walking to. I know what I'm gonna go. I know what I'm gonna do. So that's one of the greatest things I took from that. So yeah, EGOT.
How many artists come out the gate want the EGOT?
Right.
They just be wanting to just get on TV.
How many
But
artists-
they didn't even know what EGOT was.
It's
right.
That's the thing.
Well, how many people
That's
they
the
call
difference.
Paul Reiser?
But I know what it is, so now I
Yeah.
know what it is,
Yeah.
and I have shaken the hand, hugged, and got a kiss on each cheek from an EGOT
Oh,
winner.
God.
So I'm good. Like, it's like, yeah.
That's dope.
And he follows me on Instagram. I mean, he was my coach, so it's cool. So, but those are things. I know that it's available, and I've seen it. It's a tangible thing to me now. So yeah, I can say that I want to be that. It used to be I want a Grammy. Like I'm like, no, I want
All of it.
all of it.
Right on.
No,
And that's my closing remark.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's perfect. Thank you so much. I really, really thoroughly appreciate you, and I know they do as well.
Yes,
So,
yes, it's only one more
we
time.
have to do this again
Yep.
when you're back in the city. So.
That's right up middle table. Wow.
I was sitting there, they be like, what do you want to talk about? I'm like, this.
Right.
Please. Yeah.
And then they all.
And there they are.
Right. So.
Thank you guys so much.
Well, ladies and germs, thank you for joining us for another edition of the Entertainment Vlog. Right? That was cool.
Yeah, we are out.
There.